Very grateful, and we can look at this as blessings from Ramadan.
The handing over of 15 trucks of grains to their owners in compliance to the directive. I want to call upon the traders to reciprocate the magnanimity of Mr. President by ensuring the grains are sold to Nigerian markets. As a follow-up to the directive, the command, in collaboration with Customs Intelligence Unit, Federal Operations Unit, and Joint Border Patrol teams will monitor the sales of these grains in Nigerian markets and ensure they are not smuggled out of the country. Let me enlighten traders and general public that grains and its derivatives are under the extant export prohibition list. I want to also use this medium to pass across a stern warning to smugglers to desist from their dastardly act.
To date. And I will also give our thanks to Mr. President, who give directives to list our put item so that we can take it to our local market and sell it in a good price. So we thank also the controller who handle over our put items safely. We thank Almighty Allah.
Yeah, Chide, great gesture if you ask me. Yes. But let me sound a little cynical. The holy month is here. Christians are also observing Lent. Yes. So if they are believers, this is the time to reciprocate the gesture. Or don't you think so?
Yes, and this is the time for them to respect the extant laws of our country. Grains are on the export prohibition list. We can have a situation in which we clearly cannot feed our people. Our people are going through a lot. Now, the little that we produce, because you stand a chance to make money by taking it across the border. I've been talking about this long before we faced this problem. When I went to Yobe early last year, I saw truckloads of produce, farm produce, being taken across the border. And the way they will stack it, it will be as high as a story building. They will stack those vehicles. They are going across. Now, it's a lot worse because our currency has slid badly in value.
Yeah.
So Nigerian food is way cheaper now for our neighbors to buy. So if we want to make money as a farmer, you take what you have produced across the border. The EFCC, Immigration, Custom, they've seized so many trucks trying to go across the border. And these ones were part of them. I said, okay. Mr. President said, let's forgive them. Let's release their grains to them, but they must go and sell those grains
to Nigeria
inside our markets. Yeah. 15 trucks. You can imagine how many bags of rice or millet or
because these trucks are overloaded.
Of course, because no one, they don't go through the normal route that you and I use. So now, you can imagine if we had the opportunity of buying those grains. Already in northern Nigeria, prices of grains are going down. We reported that in Kwara, for example, because government bought a lot of grains and distributed to people, the price of maize especially came down. In Yobe, we also reported and we interviewed people. We heard them saying, look, the prices are going down because they are going after not just smugglers, but hoarders. There are people who hoard these things deliberately and wait for an opportune moment to then push them into the market when they can make 3 times the expected gain. So we cannot have this situation continue. We have to block the routes through which they take these things across the border, sell to Nigerians. Nigerians need this food desperately. Look at this one now. Look at, they are all overloaded. So it's not a question of us not even having at all, or not having. Our people are simply trying to make money from the unfortunate situation we found ourselves by taking these things across the border. You can say, bandits are not allowing people to produce. But if you go to northern Nigeria, the quantum of food that you will see, you know that, yes, they are not like southern Nigeria, where we don't produce a lot of agric. Over there, they commit themselves to producing, whether it's livestock or these grains, they produce in good quantities. But let's stop them from taking these things across the border to sell.
CK, we're talking about the enemy within.
Yes, of course.
So the enemy now has a choice.
Yes.
Sell to Nigerians or forget it.
Yes, the Yorubas have a saying, "Kokoro Jeffo, no for lower." So, and that is the true fact. Yes, we are talking about scarcity of food, the high prices of food items, but we are also not doing enough in ensuring that these food items circulate within the country, because majority of what you have, we are taking abroad, and most often than not, other countries we make sure that they're able to satisfy the local needs of their people in terms of food items before exporting. Whichever country you look at, either United States, UK, or whatever. But taking that further, I will first of all want to commend the current Comptroller General of Customs, CJ Adeni. Yes, Adeni. That man, within the few months that he's been in office, he has been able to show capacity. And, leadership is what leadership begets. When the head is good,
a corresponding follow.
Yes, every other thing within that thing. And I think that he has been able to make a lot of impact for me, as far as I'm concerned. Within the custom, within few, but it's expected. It's expected of him because this is somebody that grew up through the ranks. At one time, he was the spokesperson of the custom. The longest serving.
Yeah.
So we take me as one of us. Because when you look at, he's a member of NIPR, he's one of us. So that is why we say responsibility should be given to those that, like the last person that was there, he didn't go to ranks. He was not even a custom officer. He's a retired military man that was just picked. And
it was an aberration.
It's a total aberration. And that is why we've always advocated that let people get rewards for their job. You don't just pick somebody from nowhere and say, dump him in a particular place and say, you are the head. He won't be able to get the command. He doesn't know the nitty-gritty. So this particular one, we got it right. And you can see the effort being made.
CK, my trouble is the grains have been returned to the original owners. Let it go to the needy.
Yeah, that is where I'm going to. That is because definitely. And let us also commend the president for the magnanimity, because what we'd have known that once he sees, the next thing is that customs should dispose of it. They didn't say the customs dispose of it. Return it to the owners. Let them take it back to the, because at times when you return it to the government agencies, they do it the way they like.
It's good night.
It disappears. So, but let them also show some level. But my own worry is that these are just the trucks that were impounded at the major borders. Nigeria has the highest number of porous borders across board. The most porous probably in the world. So there's, yes.
By choice.
Yes. Well, it's not, I think it's because of the land mass, and also because of, you can say by choice, but it's very, very difficult with such a land mass and over close to about 5,000 borders that cannot be manned. It becomes a problem.
Then so, China would be at sea.
No go there. Citizen, no go there, no go there.
It is possible.
Yes, it's possible. But what I'm saying in essence is that for every 15 that were intercepted at that particular block, you can rest assured that over 100 must have made their way through other means. Because what is going to happen now is that since the order has been
if they use smaller vehicles.
Yes, if smaller vehicles, what they will do now is start looking for alternative routes to still take it out. It's just like closing the border. What we did with closing the borders from vehicles from entering, you start seeing them going through the interland, through the Duroko and the rest of them. But I think that what we need to do is to making sure that all these food items remain here for now. Let us even feed ourselves before thinking of feeding other.
Yeah,
other
because we can do it. It's no rocket science.
There's nothing impossible about that.
Okay, let's go to our next story. Pure politics. You know, the 10th Senate in Nigeria is steeped in controversies that depict politicians here as Machiavellian. When Senator Abdul Ningi, Bauchi Central, raised the issue of padding in the 2024 budget to the tune of 3.7 billion naira, for which he's been suspended, all hell was going to be let loose. The opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, is calling for an independent investigation into the matter. In addition to this, the party demands that Senate President Godswill Akpabio steps aside immediately to ensure a fair investigation. We have not heard the last yet, or have we?
No, we have not. We have not. But, citizen, this is not the first time. Since 1999, we'll be hearing about padding. I remember vividly the one that happened, I don't know whether it's the 8th Assembly, no, it couldn't have been the 98th Assembly, where a particular House of Rep member, I think he's back in the House now, from Kano, also raised that, raised those issues, and it has always been the norm. And my problem is that he who tried to raise somebody that like Ningi that raised the issue, I expected him to bring forth his evidence. By now, I expected all the media houses to have had those evidence he had. The newspapers, the television houses, and the rest of them. Because if you listen to, I personally read the statement issued by the presidency, that there was nothing like a 25 trillion naira budget. That the budget that was presented to the National Assembly by the president was 27.7, I think, trillion. Then the Senate, the National Assembly, not the Senate, the National Assembly, as they normally do, in their wisdom, added another 1.2 trillion, making it about 28.5 or thereabout trillion. And that was what was passed. But Senator Ningi came and said, no, it was 25 that was passed, and that another 3.5 or thereabout was, and I expect him to have brought in, if he had those facts, he said that he commissioned certain agencies, independent agencies, to do the blah, blah, blah. That for me is neither here nor there. But the fact remains that this is not the end of it, as it were. If Senator Ningi is sincere, as he said, with what he has, then let him bring it to the public. Because issue of budget is not something that you can just cover.
Oh, yeah.
There is an item-by-item provision for all those, and it's something that can be in public, that anybody can be able to bet.
And the Assembly perused it.
Yes, and the Assembly perused, he was there. But that is not the only issue here. The PDP, we are talking about PDP now, and the issue. PDP also raised some other, because, we have a say in my place, when a big tree falls, anybody can climb. Even a pregnant woman can step on it. Now they've left, the PDP is becoming too political on issues like this. Now they are attacking the Senate president. They said, one, that he has some issues with EFC, with his, when he was governor of Akwa Ibom State, over 108 billion that he couldn't account for. He should come and account for it. They said that under his watch, there was this 86 billion NDDC fund that has not been, that he should come and account for it. And I'm just asking, I say, Haba, is this what we're discussing now? Let us face this issue as it were. Let us see the end of. I was a bit hesitant because the Senate didn't actually give Ningi the opportunity to be able to elaborate more on his finding. What he just did was, the annoyance with Ningi, from what I saw, was that he has the avenue to be able to pass on this information to them, rather than going to the media as he did. And that to them, they did not cover them in good role. But this is not the end of it. Let's see what happens at the next level, as it were.
Jide, in Nigeria, politics is like you're watching a horror film. Anything is possible the next moment.
Oh, this one, I just see this one as a storm in a teacup. And I don't blame people who are necessarily excited about this matter, because it is in the character of some people to try to make a mountain out of a molehill. I played what, we are talking about budget padding. What has been padded? what has been padded. The man that they are quoting, he came out. If we have time, I will tell the producer to play it again. He said he did not say there was budget padding. So what is the argument about? The man that you are happy is the so-called whistleblower. He came out and said that he never said there was budget padding. Okay, but what is your contention?
But do you remember Ningi has said he was quoted out of context?
Yes, that he never said there was budget padding. You know, he spoke with the BBC Hausa service.
Yeah.
But when the matter was, when what he said was translated and all that, they attributed those words to him, and he said, no, I never accused Akpabio, I never accused the president, and I never said there was budget padding.
So where is it?
So what is the budget padding that some people are getting overly excited about?
Yeah.
What if the man can come out and tell us, and it was recorded? It wasn't as if somebody roused him from sleep and he was sleepwalking and they asked him. No. He was standing on his feet and he said, I never said that there was budget padding. So what is the issue? What are we arguing about? Why do we like needless controversy in our country? And if you are making an allegation, he was afforded the opportunity on the floor to say, okay, these are the items
that were padded.
Yes. For defense, you padded it to this, to the tune of so. On this, he ought to have said that. He was carrying tons of books, like an old-fashioned lawyer. Yet he could not. Look at him. In fact, he would have needed like 3 persons to help him carry those books. You would think that he was armed with the facts to disarm those senators. But he ended up like just an ignorant senator because they provided proof that, okay, the 3.7 trillion that you are talking about are meant for those statutory agencies and all that. 9 of them. Those are funds meant for those statutory agencies, including INEC. So all you needed to do was go there and confirm. So the next time I see, that was why I was not surprised that his own fellow northern senators, they disowned him.
Yeah.
You have someone like the former governor of Sokoto State. He refused to join him. And they all said, no, there was no time we agreed that this was the issue. Invariably, he owned up that he was speaking for himself. I mean, I don't know, maybe because of my own training. When you say something, I don't get overly excited. I want to see whether you've even made sense at all. I want to see whether, by scrutinizing what you have said, I can discover a smoking gun. What we saw was that this man, Senator Ningi, came to the floor without evidence to show that indeed there was a padding. All he can say, hold on a bit, all he could say that yes, for constituency projects, his colleagues, the leadership of the National Assembly was inequitable. But it's always been like that. What is allocated to the majority leader is not what they will allocate to maybe a first-time senator. By way of constituency projects. It's always been like that. And that's why you see the principal officers, they shine in terms of the funds available to them to do constituency projects. Go to Borno State, go to Biu, and see what the former House of Reps, chairman of appropriation for House of Reps, go and see what he did in that area. Because the opportunity that he had, as the person who dispenses, who appropriates funds to everyone, he had to help himself. So now, I think one of the senators, what's his name? Ali Ndume, went on a TV station to say, all animals are not equal. What I got, I admit that what I got is greater than what the ordinary senators got. It's a tradition. If in future they now want to say, okay, for constituency projects, we will get the same thing, all of us will get the same thing, that will be an issue for another day.
But how do you react to the opposition party asking for the number 3 man to step down?
It's just that's just
politics?
their opinion. They will not. They won't listen to them. How will they step down? You are talking about what transpired when he was a minister, minister of Niger Delta Affairs. You are bringing it. It means that you do not have the point. Let's focus. If you want to talk about so-called budget padding, that the whistleblower, the so-called whistleblower, came out and said, "I never said so." If you want to focus on that, attack Akpabio based on what you felt he did. Oh, he tampered with the budget. He did this. He did. Attack him on that. Don't bring what transpired during the Niger Delta, during his time as Niger Delta minister. Let's stay focused, because you are talking about budget padding. You are wrapping this whole thing around budget padding. Why are you now talking about Niger Delta? Of course, I'm not known to be an Akpabio supporter, and he knows that. But let's stay focused on this issue. Was there really budget padding? In my view, there was no budget padding, because even the person that you claimed blew the whistle, he came out on the floor and said, "I never said there was budget padding." So what are we arguing about?
Chris, quickly, in politics, when you bury the handle, when you bury the hatchet, you don't bury the handle.
Yeah, you hardly do. And that is why I was talking about the issue of, if you look at it, his governor, the governor of Bauchi State, came out yesterday to say that he supports Ningi, and that he believes in what's Ningi. But I don't know how you
have the evidence.
Yes, that's what I was very surprised, because he was a former senator as well, I think. And
yes.
he was, and former FCT minister, and he should know better. That issues, like when it comes to issue of figures, you must bring the facts. You must bring the fact to the table, and that's
this
why
one kind of.
And that's why I said these are facts. These are facts. Bring the facts. If you know that there are areas where and talking about the constituency project, I totally agree with Ejide. And a senator from Abia State, Abaribe, also yesterday came out yesterday to say yes, it's true that each senatorial geopolitical zone gets about 10 billion for constituency projects, but that it is shared based on certain needs. And that for him, his constituency projects amount to about 246 million. That is what he said.
Which is substantial.
246. But and this is the angle to it. Because during the week, I was in Abuja, and I spoke to one of the ranking members of, not only ranking, somebody that within the hierarchy of the House of Representatives. And she was trying to break it down to me that, yes, this is budgeted for our constituency, but that the money is not given to us.
No.
That is not given. Ours is to identify the projects. Do you understand? So that the MDAs and MDGs who are saddled with the responsibility of making sure that these things are executed. Yes, they are the one that execute. Ours also is to make sure that it's not like. So when the most often that Nigerians, when they say, "Oh, 500 million has been given to a legislature, has been budgeted for constituency," it is not given to them, and she made that very, very clear. And that is what we should. So it is very challenging that even Jerry Bay, who is a member of this, could also come out and not be able to verify some of this thing.
No, they don't give them this.
They don't give it. No, they don't.
You know, what Jarigbe was trying to do was to fight that inequality.
Yes.
But one day, Jarigbe will become a principal officer in that Senate. Because if he was a principal officer, I'm sure he would not open his mouth to say those things. That's the nature of the Nigerian politician. Where you are benefiting from, you don't want to run
through stones.
And I like Ndume's honesty to say, yeah, in this place, some animals are more equal than others. It's a tradition that they've held on to. Look at during the time when Gbajabila Miller was majority leader, principal officer, speaker. What gets voted to him as principal officer for all of those times was far greater than what others will get. And you've seen it when you go to Surulere, you see the kind of work that he has done. He has no mate. You go to Lut, go and see the building that is constructing for them, if he has not even finished it for Lut. Go to Unilag. You see Gbajabila Amila able to do a lot more constituency project because the quantum of funds at
Attribute
his
to him
disposal
as a
as speaker,
speaker.
as majority leader, is not what the ordinary members of the House of Reps get. In future, if they feel like changing it, fine. But that is the tradition. And the Jarigbes of this world know that that is the tradition for now.
All right, all right.
Because I'm your guy, I get to pick.
But they are supposed to be first among you.
Put 3 meats
time
on
is
the
the master,
table.
time is the master.
He is older than us. He
Yes.
picks meat first.
Of course, now when it comes to this, of course,
Make una bring this.
when you bring meat now, you go first collect now.
Are you go tell before we
You
take?
take before we take now.
All right, then. Let's move on. We'll observe a commercial break. We should be back shortly. Please stay with us.
Before, as TVC Breakfast takes your weekends to a whole new level. Introducing TVC Breakfast Weekend Edition, your ultimate source of thrilling sports updates, insightful political analysis, and captivating entertainment news. Stay in the know with what's trending, catch up with the latest in sports, and immerse yourself in the latest buzz from the world of music and movies. Your weekends are no longer just days off, but moments packed with knowledge, excitement, and enjoyment. TVC Breakfast Weekend Edition, only on TVC News.
Every week, Green Angle, in partnership with Wild Aid, will bring you a documentary series on environmental issues affecting Nigeria's amazing biodiversity, from climate change, air pollution, and wildlife conservation. We will be traveling across Nigeria to give you on-the-ground report of the issues affecting our environment. It airs every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
All right, folks, welcome back to our next story. You know, a 1 billion naira ransom demand from the devil-maker kidnappers is rubbing so much salt in a festering sore. You know, the federal government has reacted tersely. According to Information Minister Mohammed Idris, President Bola Tinubu has vowed he would not pay any ransom to kidnappers for the release of the kidnapped pupils of the Kuriga school in Kaduna State. Meanwhile, parents are aghast. A watching world is alarmed, waiting for what happens next. The government is reviewing the offer of foreign assistance in the battle against kidnapping and other high-profile crimes. The president has charged our security forces to go after the bad boys. Now, we'll share a story by TVC News' State House correspondent, Femi Akonde. Femi, it's over to you now.
The federal government says the reforms introduced by President Bola Tinubu are already yielding results across the country. And this claim is corroborated by data from the National Bureau of Statistics. But the prevailing security situation is a big headache for the government. And President Bola Tinubu at the Federal Executive Council reiterated his directive to security chiefs to ensure the release of the school pupils kidnapped in Kuriga, Kaduna State. The Minister of Information and National Orientation disclosed that the president insists no ransom will be paid.
The president has directed that security agencies must, as a matter of urgency, ensure that these children and all those who have been kidnapped are brought back in safety, and also in the process to ensure that not a dime is paid for ransom. So it's important to underscore that. No dime, government is not paying anybody any dime, and the government is optimistic that these children and other people that are abducted will be brought back to their families in safety.
The federal government is also counting the gains from efforts to ensure food security across the country. The Minister of Agriculture says there has been huge investment in this critical sector, both from the government and the private sector.
Where Mr. President commissioned the largest tomato farm and factory in Nigeria by GB Foods, which is a Spanish conglomerate from the country of Spain, and also a groundbreaking ceremony for further expansion.
President Tinubu's investment drive is also attracting dollars in foreign direct investment. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment talks about a working partnership with the World Trade Organization to improve e-commerce.
One pertinent thing to note at that support is the fact that having gone through the initiatives that we presented for the President's achievement of the President's 8-point agenda, they actually approved a lot of them, and we are very excited to support Nigeria with both technical assistance and financial assistance.
The Minister of Communications got the Executive Council's approval for its plan to improve broadband penetration across the country and leverage on satellite technology to help in the fight against insecurity.
A network of Galaxy backbone to deploy connectivity to all the 774 local government secretariats. Those who are following that project, which was announced about 2-3 weeks ago, would also see that we've actually started the connectivity. So a number of local government secretariats in Kogi State are now connected.
The Federal Executive Council gave approval to the Ministry of Works for the augmentation of the Obajan and Lokoja to Benin Road. There was another approval of an award of contracts to construct the Isheri North Road that will connect Lagos to Ogun State. The Ministry of Works also got approval for the construction of the outer marina shore protection in Lagos. This week's Federal Executive Council meeting was a reminder to the ministers to drive the implementation of the Renewed Hope agenda and ensure the benefits rub off on Nigerians. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Many thanks, Femi. Jide, we have not heard the last here.
I will just be gone to even here. 287 students in custody. A good number of them under 10 years. About 100 of them under 10 years. How do you deal with this kind of situation? We say we want to defeat the out-of-school children syndrome. Every time bandits lay their ugly hands on school children, it amounts to a big setback to our goal of defeating the out-of-school children syndrome, because a lot of these children will never go back to school. It's what I have experienced. I went to the school in Jengebe in Zamfara State, where schoolgirls were kidnapped by bandits. And what did I see? The school was shut for about a year to enable them secure the area and all that, to enable the government to be doubly sure that it was safe for students to return to school. By the time I went there, students had returned to school. Only half of the original students were back in school. It's easy to explain why. In an area where we are struggling to get people to be interested in Western education, these sort of things are happening. How do you encourage them? How do you convince parents that it is safe to send their children to schools when they are not sure that those children won't die in the hands of bandits? Look at what happened in Federal Government College. Sabo Yauri. Some of the girls returned pregnant for bandits. Some returned with the children that they bore for bandits. I mean, this is not fiction, it's the truth. Because they were there for well over a year.
And this is depressing indeed.
Seriously, how do you console a parent who sent her child to Federal Government College, Unity School, and in one day bandits descended on the school, took away the student and some of their teachers, And because ransom was not paid on time, they began to put these girls in the family way. That's not what we want to see. But it keeps happening. Bethel Baptist School in Kaduna that was invaded in 2022 by bandits. Some of those boys stayed for over a year in their hands. The Baptist Convention spent more than 100 million as ransom. Because, you see, government can say, we are not going to pay ransom. I'm not supporting that government should pay ransom. But what I want to see is for the president to give the armed forces the marching order to stop this sort of nonsense that these bandits are doing. Because if you don't pay ransom, parents are forced to pay. Obviously. And when parents, some parents will sell their house. There was a particular man that his son was among those kidnapped when that Greenfield University, the private university in Kaduna, was overrun by bandits. He had to sell his only house. That house was the product of more than 35 years of hard work. He had to sell it. Of serving the country. Of serving his country. He had to sell it to get his child out of... Because government has seen now that every time these boys kidnap students, they know that the attention of the whole world will be on them. They do it as a way of drawing attention to themselves. And when they draw attention to themselves, government will step in and say, oh, let's get these students out of the way. We've seen that happen a number of times. And when government does that, government will negotiate through back channels, through third parties, and they will get a lot of money. If they kidnap ordinary bus passengers, they are not going to get that kind of attention. So we have a duty to protect our schools, keep our schools safe. Otherwise, let's shut the schools in all of these dangerous areas instead of allowing our children to fall into the dirty hands of good-for-nothing bandits. So this is the thing. I'm not saying go and pay ransom, but what do we do? Because once they pick these children, the pressure will now be on their parents to get them out of captivity. And you may say you are not going to pay, but they will have to find the money.
Pressure from all around.
Yes. If you have a wife, your wife will not be happy for every day that you can't sleep. You will be robbed of sleep. Your wife will be robbed of sleep. Your member of your family, you want to do whatever you can to get that boy out. Yeah. That is what we are saying. When the train passengers were kidnapped, some of them work in places like Lagos, Abuja. Their companies had to mobilize to raise the 100 million that each of them was told to pay. Yeah. The ones who couldn't pay, they brought them out in the open and they were flogging them. A Muslim cleric abused President Buhari thoroughly. I've never seen an individual abuse a sitting president like that. He abused him thoroughly. The president was forced to set up a committee that now through the back channel paid these guys and got the remaining people out of captivity. So we keep falling into their trap. They know that ultimately we will bring the money. And that's why they keep struggling to make sure that, oh, let's get them.
Chris, but we can call the bluff of these brigands.
Citizen, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. I keep on going back to my village. When they carry, as what we say, when you see them carrying the corpse of someone else, to you, it looks like a log of tree. Now, who he touch? Now you know.
Who feels it knows it?
Who feels it knows it? Bob Marley. I think it was Bob Marley that said it. Who feels it knows it. But my problem is that...
That's in the song. You're running and you're running away.
That is it. You know? And the fact is that what we're experiencing now is, since we are going to pre-2015 again, this was how it started. Remember the Chibok issue? Let me tell you, citizens, for free, that as of today, close to about 50 or 60 of those girls that were kidnapped have not made it back. It's going to about 9-10 years now. It's happening in Dapchi.
It's more, they're up to
They say about 80. It's about 80.
87.
80, about 80 have not returned home after, so nobody can account to. As far as
they won't return home.
Well, they have not returned. They gone.
Some have died.
Some would have died
from snake bites.
Some would have died. Some would have been married away to even outside. That is that. It's happening in Dapchi. The same pattern. And you ask yourself, 8-9 years after, we are still back the same. And the fundamental question I ask is that they took away over 200 pupils. What is the logistic with which...
And that couldn't have happened in 30 minutes.
That is what I'm saying. What is the logistic? How were they able to carry them? Citizen, in every local government in Nigeria, there is a police command. Every local government, recognized local government. I'm not talking of this other one. I'm talking of local government, 774, that is recognized by the Constitution. There is a police command. In that local government, there is a DSS command, that's local command. In that same local government, there is a civil defense unit. Then what happened to Intel? What happened? How come that these children can be ferried away like that without anybody raising an eyebrow, without the security agencies for long period and no security? Security.
You know that area. That's what I'm saying. In areas where where we can't guarantee safety, shut the schools.
Now,
because that place, the nearest military outpost to that village is 35 minutes drive away. And there's no network. Even the reporters who went to the scene, they couldn't file their stories until they got to the state capital. No network. So the boys exploit some of these things.
Now that takes us.
Sorry, Chris. What troubles me now, troubles my soul, is that you're saying it's difficult to call the bluff.
No, for me, that is why I said.
Because
no,
I'm considering the order given by Mr. President to the.
Let me tell you.
If we're using the same method, and without technology,
yes,
that's why I think that even what the minister said, that we are considering the offer made by
the
United States and others to help, we need to consider. I know they are not going to put boots on ground, but the technology
exactly.
Yes, if we have satellite coverage of some of those areas, we will see movement now. We'll see them, and we'll be able to plan.
We are talking of the children. Don't forget also that about 200 women were also taken away are still with them from the ID camp in Borno. And that is why I'm asking, for goodness sake, for how long can we continue like this? For how long?
Remember the other song.
For how long, for goodness sake?
Like this, we go the day.
Now, that's what we go the day. It becomes an issue because you ask yourself, look at the children, these children. 10 years, under 10 years.
How do you control that?
Under 10 years, some of them have not had a bath since they were taken away.
They don't care.
They don't give them, they will not be able to give them, they can't feed them, they can't be able to give them food.
I know
they will not be able to give them food.
They're always on the move.
And they're always moving. Some of these children we cannot get
place to place.
Yes, some of these children can look at the one that came out. The one that came out last time, they say they wanted 40 trillion naira to be able to release those. They wanted 1,500. Is it 1,500 or 150?
I don't know why we do this to ourselves.
500 motorcycle, Okada, and the rest of them. Then we have elevated it. And my last point is that our security agencies must be up and running. We've talked about banditry. Every time when I hear the security agency say, "Oh, they have killed one," they've killed it. I have never seen any. We have not seen any of these major bandits leaders that have been killed. No one. Just name one single one. None.
I was listening to the Minister of Defense saying that they've killed about 7 major. How come it's not one of those that we are familiar with?
That is it. Because those are just foot soldiers. The main people that are benefiting, that are
the ones who arrange the major kidnapping.
You think that this could have happened without them?
Jide and Chris, in all of this, my country, your country, is a country of conspiracy theories. But there are theories flying about that it appears there's a big deal, business deal going on.
It's a business.
Between who and who?
No, a deal, go.
But the thing is, this banditry is already one of the
most lucrative, one of the lucrative
and most lucrative.
Most lucrative now.
Is better than armed robbery for them. Armed robbery is
And
much
cheaper.
more complicated,
Yes.
difficult to execute. So, but this one, if you are successful, you can imagine a piece of business that gives you 100 million per head.
How?
Well, that's what we saw.
Let's even say 10 million. Let us even say 10 million.
Oh, no, because I don't...
Let us even say 10 million and look at it.
I had friends among the people kidnapped, at least my friend's mother was among those kidnapped in the train. And I know what transpired. The Pakistani was made to pay 200 million. And I know someone who works here in Lagos that the company had to bring 60 million. And they said, okay, the remaining 40 let his friends go and contribute. That is what we are going through.
It's a deal.
So when a bandit, Erufai already said it, that look, you want to tell a herdsman who used to take cattle all the way from Lagos and we sell one for just 200,000.
Yeah.
You want to tell him to give up banditry when he can make 100 million on one person kidnapped. So we have no choice. We just have to be more direct, more serious, more business-minded in the way we deal with this problem.
Because I don't believe, I don't believe we are damned.
No, we are not damned, citizens. We are not damned. The fact is that
we are not just not ruthless enough.
We are talking about
not ruthless enough.
Citizen, we are talking about not going to negotiate, not paying ransom. The only way we can stop paying is for
people will pay ransom.
That is not possible.
They criminalized. I thought about 2 years ago, paying of ransom was criminalized.
Yes.
But has it stopped people from paying ransom?
The only way we can stop, we can say, oh, government, don't negotiate, is by government making sure that our schools are safe. If our schools are safe, the children will not be paid. What happened to the Safe School Initiative?
Yeah.
You remember that?
There was
what happened to the Safe School Initiative?
If we want to analyze the Safe School Initiative thing, we'll be here till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because what ought to be done is not done.
None.
You know?
None.
And to an extent, yes, they played a part in mobilizing support for the rebuilding of schools and all that. It was Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and co that came up with the idea. But as we speak, the schools are not secure. In Katsina, many schools have been shut. Boarding facilities scrapped. Because you can't afford to let it happen.
Yeah.
I've seen schools that I was driving past. I wasn't surprised that they went to that University of Dusima. Because one day when I was passing through the place, I said, these people can easily come to this school. And they came. So, to keep our schools safe, will require putting many boots on ground. And I'm not even sure we have it.
We don't have even the capacity.
So what we can do is what they are doing in Borno. They learned a bitter lesson from what happened in Chibok.
Yeah.
There was no reason to let those children sit for the exam in Chibok at the time they did. It was a terrible mistake. They should have been moved to the state capital. But sometimes you ask yourself, oh, I have security. Maybe you have 12 soldiers guiding the school.
And they come about...
And they will come
with about 100 of them.
About 100, all of them carrying the same weapon that your 12 soldiers are carrying. Those soldiers will not stay. They will run away.
They will disappear.
So now, in Borno, the state capital, they have mega schools.
All right.
Big schools, accommodating those schools, the children from those schools that were deemed unsafe. That's what other states should do. Shut all the schools in places where they are not safe.
Chris, we must go, but not before saying a happy birthday to one of us. Is by definition the executive editor TVC. I'm talking about Kayode Ladendi. He's a year older.
Happy birthday, Kayode.
That must be consequences for
Make sure
celebration today.
What?
Consequences for that celebration. Once we are living here, now we're moving.
It's popularized.
Yes.
You've been an eternal patron of Ikosi.
Yeah, I was called a long time ago.
Yes, you are called to that. I've not been called.
I need to be appreciated.
So Kayode has to take us all the way.
Okay, Kayode, we are counting with you. Happy birthday. Okay, that's just about it on the show. If you missed any part of it, join us at 11 tonight. But on Sunday, we expand the field for you from 1:30 in the afternoon. Journalist Hangout is on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now. Take care.
Good morning. This one way everybody they follow you go market this morning.
We go. It don't reach where these boys them go collect their vaccination.
But Peter and John, they no be small picking again.
Landlord, vaccines dey for everybody. Small pickings them get their own. Big pickings them like Peter and John, where they from 5 to 18 years, then get their own. Even people like you, where they your age level get their own. Like COVID vaccine, hepatitis, tetanus, and other vaccines them.
I beg, it dey too early for you to make me laugh.
Papa landlord, no be joke oh. Make you just waka go health center, make you for know the correct vaccine for you. It go better, make you follow who no road.
Vaccine no be for only small pikin dem. Boost your immunity for any age. Or any health center to know the vaccine when you need. Or call 7722 for more information.
Follow who no road.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Today, there are many complex, boring, expensive, and useless exercise machines in the market. Or you pay over 400,000 naira a year for gym membership and never go. ShopX TV is proud to introduce Total Crunch Evolution, the compact, versatile fitness solution that is perfect for you. With Total Crunch, you get a complete fitness workout in one machine. Say goodbye to ineffective and complicated exercise